Hi, guys. Welcome to the first episode of Horror History and More. I'm Bonnie, and I have a master's degree in history and an insane love for horror, all things horror, horror movies. I am reporting to you on Valentine's Day. Well, I guess it's 12/12 the 15th, but nevertheless, I'm a little late. It's okay. So what this is going to be is it's going to be me having like long form conversations with some of my friends, and I'm going to talk about movies and history and music and art and all sorts of fun stuff. So being as, it's Valentine's Day weekend, there's a historical aspect, but also a horror aspect. So first, we'll start with the history part. Also, if this sounds like weird or off, it's my first video, so I'm kind of, testing the waters, and we'll see where it goes. So 96 years ago, the St. Valentine's Day massacre happened in Chicago. And 96 years, isn't that crazy? 1929, February 14th. It's suspected that it was Al Capone's men. They couldn't prove it because he was in his Florida home, but odds are it was him that did it. So the rival gang leader, Bugs Moran, had been kind of infiltrating like Al Capone's bootlegging operation. There was all this gang violence going on. Dean O'Banion was murdered. That was the leader, and then Bugs Moran kind of took over. And there was a garage that was also like a bootlegging facility. So on this day, there was 7 men there. Not all gangsters. Some were just associates of Bugsy Moran. But the other people, there was a mechanic, an accountant, just a bunch of poor bastards that were in the wrong place at the wrong time. So basically, some people that were dressed up as officers, Chicago police, and some people dressed as gangsters walked up, pulled them all out to the alley, lined them up against the wall, which, fun fact, the wall that they were all gunned down at, for a while was in a Canadian bar in the bathroom with the urinals. Thankfully, somebody had enough sense to take this wall, and now the Mob Museum, the Law Enforcement Organized Crime Museum in Las Vegas has the wall. It's really cool. If you have the chance, you should check it out. They give a whole introduction to what happened that day, and then like a curtain comes up and there's the wall behind glass. But you can still see the bullet holes, which is super cool. I went and I saw it, and I had walked in kind of like midway through the thing, and I missed the wall, and I really wanted to take a picture in front of it. So I waited and I watched the whole video and everything before it. So as I'm watching, people are coming in the room. And this little boy goes, "Oh, Daddy, like what happened to Al Capone?" And his dad goes, "Oh, he died." And I was like, well, actually, and I start explaining what happened. And more people were coming in. And it ended up being me basically giving like a history lesson to a crowd of people. The crowd started building, and I was answering all these different questions. And at one point I was like, "Guys, I just want my picture taken, and let that be that." But it was really fun. I did get my picture taken in front of the wall. It was a great time, and I recommend to do it if you have any sort of love of history, if you have a love of mob related history. If you don't want to be wasted all day in Las Vegas, it is a really fun place to go. So one of the things that's also cool is it happened on the 2100 block north of Lincoln Avenue. So you can actually go to the place. I think it's like a condominium now, of course, but you can go to the place where the wall was, where they were all executed. Fun fact is the mechanic's dog ended up living. I mean, the mechanic didn't, but out of the 7 men that were there, they were all killed. One died later on at the hospital, but as he was taken, he told the cops like he was not going to snitch, like, and then he ended up dying in the hospital, so he did not snitch. Another thing that was cool about that was Bugs Moran was on his way to that facility, and he ended up being late for whatever reason. And then when he finally got in the car, his driver saw the cop car and drove him away. So the whole point was to kill him, but he wasn't there. And as somebody who's late, that's being late isn't always bad. So the photos are really cool. If you've never looked at the photos of the bodies kind of like splayed out and all that jazz. So there's a lot of fun books written about it, and of course the exhibit in the Organized Crime Law Enforcement Museum. And then if you guys want to hear more, I can definitely dive into more and different organized crime in Chicago. When I was in college, I majored in history, and one of my capstone paper was about organized crime in the Chicagoland area. Because I'm originally from Berwyn and I currently live in Oak Park, but in this whole area, Al Capone kind of like stretched over, because Austin Avenue is the dividing line. So on one side is Cicero, on the other side is Chicago. So he was able to commit a lot of crimes because he could just literally walk across the street. His people could just walk across the street. And at that point, it was out of Chicago police jurisdiction. And, he got away with a lot of stuff. So, yeah, my master's is in United States history after 1877. And I have a specialized focus in counterculture history, Black Chicago history, and organized crime history, at least in the Chicagoland area. I have a published master's thesis, which is about the counterculture underground press from 1968 to 1975. Those years were very juicy, and actually have a lot of parallels to today's current climate and protests and different things like that. So, I said earlier, like, part of this podcast is going to be history, and the other part is going to be about horror. And the great thing about Valentine's Day is there's great horror movies. There is My Bloody Valentine, the original one from 1981. And then the remake, which, unpopular opinion, I fucking love. It's gory, it's great. Jensen Ackles from Supernatural is the lead, and it's really good. It's I love it. I was looking for it and I can't find it. So anyway, the other great Valentine's Day movie is Valentine, which is actually playing right now. What's great about Valentine is it's super underrated, super fucking gory, wonderful soundtrack, like super like nu metal, and there's like a great song by Orgy. Like it's really good. It's got it all. So I would definitely check this out. It is sometimes hard to find. This is like an old DVD from when it was like first released. But it's fantastic. I don't know why it's so underrated. Especially the Cupid mask that he's wearing. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's a pretty good cast. Denise Richards is in it. She dies horrible. Katherine Heigl is on the screen dying behind me. The death scenes are super like intricate and gory and awesome, and it is kind of like a surprise twist who the killer is, even though you can kind of guess, but kind of not. But yeah, I would definitely check out Valentine. Another honorable mention is, of course, Bram Stoker's Dracula is, the ultimate romance movie, but also the original Dracula is a great movie to watch. with your sweetheart, or by yourself, or your local vampire. And with the resurgence of vampire love, you know, Nosferatu came out. There's the awesome series Interview with the Vampire. It's so good, and like they play a lot of parts true to the book. So that's great. And another just kind of honorable mention, if you haven't seen it, it's called A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. Again, it's like a vampire movie, but not like a typical one. It is fantastic, and it's romantic. You know, it could be for Valentine's Day, it could be for anything. And then another honorable mention is Crimson Peak. Beautiful movie, Guillermo del Toro, super talented cast. I don't know, you can kind of see the artwork on here. I would definitely recommend it. There is Jessica Chastain, Tom Hiddleston, Charlie Hunnam. It's fucking great. It's one of my favorite movies. It's beautiful, gothic horror story, love story, ghost story. It's really, really good. So if you like any of those things, I would definitely recommend them. So yeah, so this podcast is gonna, or not podcast, like I don't really know, like YouTube channel, podcast, videos, whatever, is gonna be like this, where I'm just rambling and just talking about history and horror, and then when I start getting guests on, you know, we'll touch on different topics. If there is something that you're like very interested in, you know, let me know, we can talk about it, or you can come on and we can talk about it together. I don't really expect a lot of people to watch this, but I just thought it'd be really fun, and I'm not doing it with like any equipment or anything. It's just going to be me filming on my phone, having these conversations either with myself or with a guest. But yeah, I hope that you enjoy it, and, you know, go ahead and smash that subscribe button and go ahead and like it. And I think I reversed that. Go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe. Yeah, I think that's how it is. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to this. It should be fun. And we're going to touch on all sorts of fun stuff. I have like a lot of talented friends and artistic people, business owners, candle makers, artists, mask makers, makeup artists. So I have a lot of talented friends, and I can't wait to share them and have them share their love for their craft. I think it's going to be really fun. I'm saying and a lot, but you know, that's sometimes how I talk. So that being said, hopefully you like this. Hopefully you'll subscribe to more. And yeah, that's it. At least for this episode. So, I don't have a sign off quite yet. I probably should. But I don't know what it is. So, anyway, I ended up dropping my remote. So I'm going to turn it off like this.